Amid fears of renewed war escalation, Iran sharply lashes out at Trump's Arab allies for enabling American aggression against Tehran. Mojtaba aid puts Arab allies squarely on notice over hosting U.S. bases that facilitate strikes on Iranian territory. Iran delivers direct threat to Arab monarchies for actively backing Trump Netanyahu's war agenda. Iran issues stark blunt warning to Gulf capitals. Arab palaces won't remain safe amid rising retaliatory threats. Amid the shaky truce with the United States, an Iranian lawmaker delivered a fiery warning directed at Gulf nations, injecting fresh tension into regional diplomacy. The remarks came from a member of Iran's Parliamentary National Security and Foreign Policy Committee, Mahmoud Nabavian, speaking at a pro-government rally. In his address, Nabavian warned Arab rulers that if any harm were to come to Iran's leadership, their own security would not be spared, framing it as a direct threat to their regimes. Nabavian stated, "None of the kings of the Arab countries or their palaces will remain safe," escalating the discourse beyond conventional deterrence rhetoric. Mahmoud Nabavian said, and I quote, "If any assault is carried out against our great leaders, none of the kings of the Arab countries or their palaces in the region will remain safe, and they will all be sent to hell." Unquote. Once again, shortly before a possible flare-up in the standoff, Tehran has signaled that it is willing to extend the battlefield beyond its own borders, underscoring the risks for neighboring states. The remarks appear aimed at the wealthy Gulf monarchies hosting U.S. airbases and logistical hubs, which Tehran has long objected to as staging grounds for campaigns it views as targeting Iran. Nabavian called on these Gulf states to stop allowing their territories to be used as a launchpad for attacks on Iran, urging them to dissociate more clearly from Washington's military posture. The Iranian Foreign Ministry accused the Gulf Cooperation Council of issuing statements that it described as hostile toward Tehran. Spokesman Esmail Baghai rejected the GCC's position on Iran's retaliatory actions, dismissing it as unfounded and biased. Baghai maintained that Iran remains committed to preserving stable and constructive relations with neighboring Arab countries. However, Tehran also alleged that certain Gulf states were involved in actions supporting U.S. and Israeli military operations. These accusations were directed at countries that reportedly allowed their territory to be used for strikes targeting Iran. Iran further claimed that some regional allies of Washington had effectively become complicit in the ongoing conflict. The Iran Foreign Ministry said, and I quote, "Despite earlier assurances of commitment to legal and international obligations, and declarations that they wouldn't allow their territory and facilities to be used in anti-Iran strikes, these governments did not take any measures to stop the process and even actively participated in the anti-Iran aggression under the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 3314. These governments have effectively become complicit in heinous US-Israeli atrocities against the Iranian nation." End quote. The Iranian Foreign Ministry also criticized GCC Secretary General Jassim Mohammed al-Budaiwi over his recent remarks. The GCC chief had reportedly called on Iran to lift its blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Baghai responded by describing the blockade as a defensive measure taken in response to perceived threats from the United States and Israel. He further stated that Iran's actions are consistent with its interpretation of international law. Tehran also urged GCC member states to take steps aimed at rebuilding trust and reducing tensions in the region. In addition, Iran reiterated its position that affected countries should address the damage caused during the conflict. Iran's demand that Gulf and other regional players revise their alignment came as President Trump publicly claimed that Tehran is dying to make a deal with the United States.
Look, the country's doing really well, and that's despite a military operation. I don't call it a war. We'd rather have a military operation where really, Iran is dying to make a deal. I can only tell you that. I don't want to get into it, but they cannot be nuclear other than that, but their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, every ounce of any form of equipment practically is gone. You know, their drone factories are about 82% down, and their missile factories are almost 90% down, and many of their missiles have been knocked out. They used some, but we knocked out more than they used. And it's pretty amazing what's happened. They want to make a deal. But despite the fact that we are in what some people would call a war, We just hit a new high today on the stock market. We have S&P is through the roof. They're through the roof. If we didn't have that B-2 bomber, if we didn't go in and do what we did, we obliterated that nuclear capacity of theirs. And so they didn't get the nuclear bomb. If we didn't do that attack, should have been done long before I came along by other presidents or by another country or something. But it should have been done long before I came along. But they are in very bad shape. And they've got nothing going, including leadership. I mean, their leaders are gone. Now they have a whole new, their first string leaders are gone. Their second string leaders are gone. Now we're dealing with their third string. But we'll see what happens. Can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And their economy is crashing. The blockade is incredible. The power of the blockade is incredible. They're not getting any money from oil. And hopefully it can be worked out very soon. Yeah.
Iran is proving to be very stubborn. The talks seem like they are stalled. Are you getting antsy to break the ceasefire?
Well, I mean, I don't know what stubborn is because really nobody knows what the talks are except myself and a couple of other people. They want to make a deal badly. We have a problem because nobody knows for sure who the leaders are. It's a little bit of a problem, you know. The leaders have been wiped out along with their military, almost all of their military. I mean, think of it. 159 ships was their total navy. 159 ships are gone. They're underwater. They're way below sea level. Sea level is a big difference. Pretty deep waters over there, too. So, I don't know that we need it. We might need it. We might need it.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.